First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
First things first, all options are on the table for the Jets with Sam Darnold and the #2 pick. But would trading him be a mistake? Hold on, Brandon. It's official. The NFL's plans for a 17th game are set. So which record is as good as broken? And how about this? LeBron recruiting Steph to come join the Lakers.
What?
Wouldn't that be a match? Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolf, Nick Wright, Brandon Marshall, Kevin Wildes, LeBron and Steph, Steph and LeBron. Nick, it's got a nice little ring to it, no?
It would be a great way for LeBron to celebrate year 20 by helping Steph get another ring, because otherwise Steph probably ain't getting another ring. Let's be honest.
Steph helping him to get another ring.
That's nice of LeBron.
We'll get to Nick's fantasy team of LeBron and Steph in just a second. But we got to start right here. Alabama's pro day yesterday. Quarterback Mac Jones on full display, climbing up in those draft boards, throwing in front of GMs and coaches. Of course, the scene that went viral, the Mac Jones miss on that deep ball. We watched it all day yesterday. And then Bill Belichick with the subsequent head shake. Can't say for sure what Belichick was actually reacting to, but it sure looked like it was that throw, and the internet had a field day. Meanwhile, over in Columbus, he had Justin Fields putting on an absolute show, including the 4.44 and the 40-yard dash without the shirt, because you don't want anything to slow you down. Said after he was mad he couldn't get into the 4.3s, Brandon. Matt Miller tweeting, one scout told him Justin Fields' day was the best quarterback workout he had seen in a long time. All right, Brandon, we'll start with you. You took in every last second of all of this. How much was your opinion swayed by Mac Jones and Justin Fields' pro days yesterday?
Oh, I mean, he just solidified it, and that being Justin Fields. There's no debate anymore, Nick. Wildes, Jenna, there's no debate. This dude needs to be off the board when the Jets are picking at the #2 position. We're talking about a 4.40 from the quarterback position in the modern football era, where we're asking the quarterback to be able to move and get outside the pocket. We're also asking him to play a major role in a run game. This dude had a lot of zip on his ball, had a lot of power. He threw with accuracy. He showed exactly what he does best. And obviously, these are scripts, so it's meant to put these guys in the best position and highlight what they do well. But he did his thing. You know, he could have went out there and bombed. He didn't do that. We're talking about leadership out of this world. He was the reason why we saw Big Ten football. Think about that. One guy was the reason why we saw Big Ten football. Him. New York. We need a guy like this to come into that market, and I'll call Brian Castillo. I'll call Kimberly Martin. I'll call Rich Cimini, and I'll tell him take it easy on this kid. We got our quarterback, guys. Don't let this guy come in and you guys start crushing him in camp or after week 1. Now, Kimberly's great. Kimberly's fine. Brian's fine. Rich Cimini, you're the one I got to call and make sure that we're going to protect this kid when we draft him at the #2 pick. So, look, this is our guy. And did we forget, Nick, about the Sugar Bowl, 22 for 28? All right, 385 yards.
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns, 1 interception.
As many touchdowns as incompletions. That's right. No, listen, I agree with everything you said, except for the Jets component, because I don't know who the Jets are going to take at #2. I just know they're going to take the wrong guy, and so that means it's not going to be Justin Fields. I do think that there might be, because when I'm watching this workout, and I'm watching him roll out, and I'm watching him throw on the move, you know what I'm thinking to myself? Man, oh man, that sure looks like the perfect quarterback for that Kyle Shanahan offense. And you might say, Nick, Matt Ryan was in that offense. I understand Matt Ryan's not mobile, but it also made Matt Schaub into a Pro Bowl level quarterback with a ton of bootlegs off the play action. And the one time Kyle Shanahan has been able to try to pick his own quarterback, he traded way up. I know he wasn't the GM, got RG3, and for a year before his body was ruined by injury, RG3 is a mobile dual-threat quarterback, had statistically speaking the best rookie season we had up to that point ever seen from the quarterback position. So I know there's a lot of smoke with the Niners and Mac Jones. I feel like that is likely at this point a smoke screen, because I can't see how, if the Jets pass on Justin Fields, the Niners don't take him at 3. And as far as Mac Jones goes, Wilds, I went all the way back to November of this football season and read the draft reports. Kiper and McShay had a whole article talking about, hey, Mac Jones, if he doesn't go back to school, might be a first or second round pick. And I'm not trying to say you can't improve, because Joe Burrow obviously skyrocketed up the charts. But I've never understood how all of a sudden Mac Jones is potentially a top 5 pick when a few months ago the people were thinking he might be the 55 pick. So Mac Jones was fine. Pro days aren't usually overly impressive, but Justin Fields is the story, and the fact that he's always been a top 3 quarterback in this class is the story.
Okay, so the only tangible data point that came out of the pro day was that Justin Fields is as fast as RG3. All the rest of it felt like, an Instagram filter, like you're gonna look good. You've got no defense, you're wearing a pair of basketball shorts, and you're throwing it to your favorite receivers in your own building. So, Brandon, I don't know how anyone could have bombed. You said, like, oh, he could have gone out there and bombed. Like, when's the last time we've heard of anyone bombing their pro day? Everybody looked good. The only bit of controversy we had was the Bill Belichick head shake. So I think the only tangible data point is that Justin Fields is way faster than it feels like the scouting report was out on him. That now you can put him into that Jets offense if you want, even though I still think they're going to go with Zach Wilson, and he'll give you a dynamic component that the other guys won't.
All right, so we always have this conversation on the show, and you guys never understand why I'm always like, man, there's so many guys overrated in the NFL. Some dudes, you just walk into the locker room, you're like, this guy made it, right? Because they don't pass the eye test. You don't need to put on a helmet. You don't need to put on pads. We don't need the thud. We don't need to hit to see who's who. We can go out there, routes on air, and we can see who is good and who's not. This dude is phenomenal. He's sensational. So I don't need to see him in a helmet. I don't need to see him in a game. We already saw all of that. Like, we knew that. He just solidified his position yesterday as the #2 quarterback in the draft. No more debate. Nick, also, think about this. You talked about, oh, well, this is the perfect situation for San Francisco. Well, you know who the Jets' offensive coordinator is? It's Mike LaFleur. Yeah, coach from Green Bay, his baby brother. He's been the passing game coordinator under Coach Shanahan. So what do you think what he's gonna do with this kid? He's gonna put him in the best position. The same offense that we saw run in San Francisco, in Atlanta, in the Texans, in Cleveland. That's the offense they're gonna have and with the Jets, with a little mix up of some West Coast. So that's what you're going to see. And I'm excited to see it. We can't miss on this kid. Please do not miss on this kid, Jets.
Wow, you're really...
Well, listen, I think what Mike LaFleur is going to do is wave goodbye to Justin Fields as the Jets are selecting Zach Wilson, but I might be wrong. And by the way, Zach Wilson has looked phenomenal as well, and some people are trying to argue that he actually should be neck and neck with Trevor Lawrence for the #1 pick. So I do think the Jets, and it's odd to say this, are in an advantageous position where it would appear there are 3 quarterbacks in this draft that most people love. We know Trevor Lawrence is going 1. They will have their pick of those 2. I think Justin Fields is the right pick. But if the Jets take him, by definition, that means he was the wrong pick. So I'm rooting for Justin Fields, but if he goes #2, then I will have to assign him the fact that he's the wrong pick. Because the Jets haven't picked the right quarterback since Joe Namath, and I don't even know how the draft worked back then. So I'm rooting for Justin Fields, Brandon, which means I'm rooting for him to go to San Francisco. Because that's what's best for him. You can grab your Jets helmet.
Back to Wilds real quick.
Is it signed by Christian Hackenberg?
Yeah,
Christian Hackenberg. Wilds, if a guy, I can look in the locker room and see a guy put on his socks, and I'll tell you if he can play or not. I just need to see you put on your socks. Some dudes like, man, this dude can't even put his socks on right. Can't play
And
ball.
it kind of looked to me like there was a reason Mac Jones wasn't shirtless. It kind of looked like Mac Jones. There was a reason he wasn't shirtless, and a reason Justin Fields
Brady wasn't shirtless, and it worked out just fine for him. So shirts are okay. The plans are in place for the NFL's 17th game now. So which superstar will be breaking records with an extra Sunday to shine? We'll talk about that next. First things first.